everybody, and welcome to DC Fine Art. Today we're going to be working on this painting here, but we're going to be trying out something different. Now, this painting here I actually done on one of our YouTube videos, and it was for my daughter. I have never varnished it yet, never said that I have completely finished it. I do believe we did it as a live stream, and there was just always something about it, even though I worked on it a couple times, just kind of adding some more layers in there, kind of changing up the vase and just adding another layer to it. And, you know, just adding maybe second coats here or there. But other than that, it was just like, it was just missing something, and I just couldn't call it finished yet. So I have got this great idea of what I can do with this painting, and I wanted to share it with you because this is actually the first time that I'm going to be doing this. But I'm probably going to have to test this out first, and I will show you guys. But I'm going to be using the Winsor & Newton watercolor. This is watercolor mediums. It's Colorless Art Masking Liquid. So it is basically a masking fluid. So it's like the white type too. So it should be not like yellow like some of the other ones. Because I had an issue with one of my other ones, even though I mixed it up. This is a art masking fluid here. It says watercolor medium, Winsor & Newton, but it always had this yellow, you can tell really bad on this one. It always had that yellow tinge or like color to it. And if I were to put this on anything like paper, whatever, for some reason it would stain it like yellow. And so I never really cared for that too much, and I was very scared about using it again after I had that issue. But I ended up getting this other one here, and this one here is Colorless masking fluid, and it is white, and it doesn't have no yellow like weird colors in it. It's just white. Now, I've never used this on a canvas before, so the first thing you want to do before you actually completely try it on your canvas or whatever artwork, like especially if you're working like putting this like all over it, I would just basically do a little test strip. So I would just put a little bit of this maybe on the corner of your canvas here, and once it dries, you can see if you can remove it and it all goes well, then you can put it all throughout what you're doing. So I just want to let you guys know exactly what I'm doing here. I'm going to do a little test strip here, so you're going to watch me do that. It's going to be sped up, and then after I get done, I will let you guys know how it works on coming off. Once we do that, we're going to use this masking fluid to cover all the vase and all of the flowers and the little green stems here. We're going to cover all that with masking fluid. Yes, that's going to be a whole lot of masking fluid, but I really wanted to do that because I'm going to end up taking this outside and I'm going to just splatter it with like purple paint, and have like drip marks, like a splatter mark, and we're just going to get crazy with it. And then once it's done and dry, I will remove all of the masking fluid, and we should have a really cool kind of design in the background to make it a little bit more interesting. So that's what I'm thinking about doing for this piece, and we'll just try it out and see how it goes. So let's go ahead and get this. I have my brushes here that I will be using. Just one little round brush here for any little bitty areas that are kind of small. And then I've got this bigger one. It's a filbert where I can do bigger areas and paint a lot of this stuff on. I also have my paper towels, and then I got my water here to clean off my brush when I get done. So let's go ahead and do a little strip here and see exactly what it happens. Hopefully all goes well so we can do this whole thing. So I allowed this to dry. It is right here, so it went invisible and you can't really see it. It's just a little bit shiny. Now I went ahead and took this out. I forgot that I had it, but it is a rubber kind of like eraser. It's not really like an eraser that erases off like pencil or anything. It's much harder, but it is like a gum like a gum eraser, and basically what it does is it sticks to this stuff and you can just pull it off. So it just makes it a lot easier to be able to rub it instead of just rubbing it with your finger. So I'm going to go ahead and try that, and as you can see, it is coming right off. See that? You can do it with your finger too. So there it is. And there is nothing left on there. It didn't hurt the canvas or the paint whatsoever. So that tells me that this stuff here works perfectly fine with doing it all throughout this whole entire painting. So that's what we're going to be doing. So here we go. So now while I'm putting on all of this masking fluid, I just want to leave a couple of notes for you guys. Make sure you use a brush that you don't really care if it gets ruined. And I say this because if it ends up drying on that brush, it will cake on that brush and it is super hard to get rid of it. Now I haven't tried using like any kind of like mineral spirits to try and remove it. Maybe that might break it apart, but I haven't really tried that yet. So just make sure you use an old brush or just something that you don't care if it gets ruined or not. Second of all, make sure that you cover every area as good as you possibly can. This stuff dries really, really quick, so please work quickly when doing this. All right, so before I go outside to be able to do my little splatters on everything, I got this little palette tray here. I am not for sure. I think it is I was trying to think of the brand name of this or what this little paint pan was. I think it's from Richardson. So, but anyways, it's just a metal tin here. You can use it for watercolor. You can use it for pretty much anything you want. So I'm going to use this in order to take this outside with me. I think it'll be much easier. I'm going to use this to mix up my paint with the water to make it nice and not too soupy, but I want it to be still a little thick, but to a point where I can easily flick it off my brush. Now, I really didn't like these brushes. I think I've said that in one of my past videos that I've done a long time ago, but these brushes here are from Artify, and I don't know. I absolutely hate these brushes, to be honest. Unless some sort of miracle comes from them, I don't know. That's why I'm deciding to use these, because I wanted to see if I can find some sort of use for them. They are supposedly like horse's hair, which is kind of weird. I mean, like I said, I used to have a horse when I was younger. If I knew that you can make brushes out of them, I would have brushed my horse every single day to get the fur off of her with a carrot comb. And that is, she loved being brushed too. So I had a whole bunch of hair. I could have made so many brushes, and she probably just would have turned around and looked at me and said, really? Really? Well, anyways, they make hair. I guess these are what this is supposed to be. I don't know. I mean, I think a long time ago that's what they said they are, but they shed so badly. So I'm hoping that just doing this, it won't be too much of a problem. We'll just see. Other than that, I got this round brush here. So just any brush that you want to get, try it. So let's go ahead and get my paints out. I am going to use the Brilliant Purple. This is all by Liquitex Basics, the same type of paint that we were painting the picture with. Oop. So there's a big blob of it. Then I've got Prism Violet. Watch me like run out of paint. I'd be so sad. And Dioxide Purple. So we're kind of go from light, medium to dark. Okay, so we got quite a bit there. I'm going to go ahead and spritz it. At least 2 full spritz. Ooh, that's like nails on a chalkboard. I just want to loosen it up a little bit. It makes it a little bit easier to work with. I don't care if it goes in that corner or not. That might work. And I'm really hoping gonna get all of it off of there, but you know, happens. Okay, and then I'm gonna mix this one up with a little bit of water just to make sure I got it all mixed up. So wipe that off on a paper towel. Ooh, get over here. Get some of that water mixed in there. I'll try and get much of the water as I possibly can mixed in. Kind of going over to the corner of the pan there. Yeah, that's really kind of soupy, so that should be good. It's not too bad, should be easy to sling. And now let's get this. This is my dioxide purple, which is my darkest of my purple. And if I need some more, I can always put some more in there. Yeah, I'm gonna loosen that up just a little bit, so we're gonna scrape that off. All right. So now that I got my paints in here and I got them nice, I'm gonna just spritz them one more time before we go. I've got my brushes. So let's go ahead and take this outside and let's get to, well, flinging some paint. So I took this outside and I got my tray and we're gonna start flinging some paint at this picture. Now I did have to stand at different angles. So when doing this, just make sure that you're standing not just in front or to one side of it, but to make sure you kind of go around and stand at different angles while you're flipping the paint. If it's not flipping and you're getting a big chunk starting to come in on your painting, just make sure that you water it down maybe a little bit more so that way you get a little bit more of an easier fling from the brush with the paint. So I did have to adjust that and spray some more water in. So it's always easier to kind of spray more water in as you go because you can see how the fling of the paint goes. And if it's too thick, then you'll know it. And I made some big globs on there, as you can see, but then also there's some smaller ones. So I've got a difference, like there's just big ones, small ones. It's pretty much anything, just random at this point. All right, so the majority of this area should be dry where we had put the clear stuff on. I say clear stuff, but it's the Colorless art masking fluid. So I dried it with a hair dryer, let it sit for a little bit, and I was kind of questioning whether or not a hair dryer was actually a good thing to use on it, but it didn't do anything. So hopefully it didn't do anything. So we're gonna go ahead and take this little kneaded rubber thing and we're gonna go ahead and start removing it from our painting. And as you can see, it's peeling up really good. Oops, my painting is moving, so I have to be very careful with that. But I'm just gonna go ahead and go over this, trying to get all these edges off, and then we'll start working our way toward the middle. But so far, everything seems to be doing good with the removal. It's coming off slightly easy. I mean, I'm not really having to push down really hard or anything, so that's a plus. I can feel it sticking to this as I'm going, so that means it's sticking to that. It's almost like a rubber anyway. And it's like sticking to that and kind of gripping it and pulling it. I'm gonna get right around the edge of this flower here. And then we had this little area here that we've done with the little leaf. Got that off. Now this little area here. And it seems to be coming off nicely. Wonder if we can like peel this. I don't know if we can or not. Kind of peel some of these bigger chunks off. I mean, there's probably some thinner lines in here, but for the most part, it's got a lot of these bigger, kind of these little rubble, like rolled up parts. So I just want to make sure I got that off. And wherever I see like some paint kind of sticking, kind of thinking that there's some of that rubber still on there, or that and just to make sure that I get it all off of here, I'm probably gonna run my fingers along here and just kind of rub it just a little bit, just to see if there was any areas that maybe I missed. Because that feels pretty good. There's some areas in here. Now it looks like there's some paint splatter that kind of got through on this, and I'm wondering if that's just because when I went over it, I kind of went over it kind of quickly, so I may have missed some spots. But if so, I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. Like, I'm not too worried about it. I definitely didn't want a mass amount getting on the painting. And see, I think there's some, yeah, I can feel a little bit in here. I'm just gonna make sure that there is no, like sometimes the paint can hold on to it a little bit, so I just wanna make sure that that's not the case. And it truly is because I missed a spot. Because you definitely don't want to varnish over any of this stuff. Now, while I'm removing this masking fluid, I did notice that there was some areas that I had missed when putting the masking fluid on, but it was really no big deal. There were just a couple of spots, and I could easily fix those spots by going over it with some paint. So that was not too much of a big deal on that. So that looks pretty good. Now, just to make sure I got all this stuff, some of these loose things, I would just use one of these brushes and just kind of dust off the rest of it. And if you notice that there's any kind of like paint marks that you're wanting to try and get off, make sure that you do not push down with either the eraser or when you're trying to scratch at that little spot, just to see if it does have any glue underneath. Make sure you do not scratch really hard, because you could indent the canvas or leave a mark on the canvas, and that's not something that you want to do. And if there's any areas that you just cannot stand, like you're thinking, okay, this is just too much, then you can always paint over it if you want, but I'm not for sure if I want to. I might, but I might not. But now the painting has got a really cool kind of look. Looks 10 times better, I think. And it just gives it a whole lot more character to the painting. So it's really cool. I really do like that. And I like how this here has a split, kind of where it goes back behind the vase. It's really cool. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's definitely been kind of fun and interesting to try out, just to see what it does. And if you're wanting to, like, if you're thinking about doing something like this and you just kind of don't like that it miss spots because you're not wanting any spots to get on your painting, just make sure you just cover it all. Like, make sure it's completely covered when you're going over it with your masking fluid. Me, I just kind of did it real quick, and just as long as I had the majority of it covered, that's really all I was wanting. And just make sure you're careful with it. You're going over everything completely, and then you won't have any spots like coming through. But to me, I'm perfectly fine with it, and I am absolutely way more happier with the way it looks. So if you did like this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all on the next video. Bye, you guys.